Hello, everybody. This is Farhan Jamil from SIFE Trainings, Pakistan. So today it's the third session of the Meet the Trainer. We are going to be in conversation with Beenish Rehan. She teaches IELTS. She teaches communication skills. She's also an instructor for spoken English. She also teaches English at O levels in different renowned institutions in Pakistan. The purpose of making this video is just to answer those common questions. Like whenever the candidates or like if there is anyone who wants to appear in IELTS exam, or if he or she wants to take the spoken English classes, so what they do, they usually request that we want to meet the instructor. And whenever they meet with the instructor, they ask few basic questions. And the purpose of making this video is just to answer those questions. So let's talk to Beenish Rehan and let's see what are her answers for that. How are you, Beenish Rehan?
Hello Farhan, how are you? I'm good. You tell?
I'm doing great, Alhamdulillah. Okay, as I said earlier, that we are going to ask you few questions. These are from the candidates, participants who want to take the classes. I just request you to answer those questions and share your opinion about those statements. So the first
All right.
question that I have also asked from Mr. Suleiman Ansari as well, that is, students usually say that why is it important to take admission for online classes or might be for physical in-campus classes? Why do we take admission while we can watch the YouTube videos? All the instructions are available there. For instance, if they are going to appear in IELTS, so reading, writing, listening, speaking, all the modules, the instructions are available there. So why shall we take admissions into your classes? What's your opinion about
That,
that?
yes, thank you Farhan. That's a very good question and a very valid one.
Hmm.
Something of major concern for the IELTS participants. Actually, the one word that I use for this kind of question is the feel. It's
Hmm.
the feel of the environment, of the atmosphere, that is very important for learning. If
Hmm.
a child who doesn't go to school and opts only for online learning, do you think that would be more comprehensive and that would be more effective, or going face to face or taking the classes directly with the one-to-one sessions with the tutor? That is better. So of
Hmm.
course the video option, and of course all these different resources are there. There is an abundance of such resources out there online. But taking an instant feedback from your supervisor, that is very important. And
Hmm.
the feel of it, having the feel that now I'm in the campus and now I'm into the class, that is altogether a different experience.
Hmm.
So this is what I really believe in, that makes a real difference.
Yeah, that's good. And also, like that becomes the passive learning when they are watching a video and
Yes,
they cannot ask the
yes,
question at the same moment. Yeah.
absolutely,
So, like,
absolutely.
we are
At this
not saying that
point,
we
to make
watching a video is not a good thing. They can watch it. Like, they should learn it from as many sources as available. But still, a real-time instructor, because the technology is still not considered as the replacement of a physical teacher, physical or online teacher.
exactly,
All
exactly,
right.
exactly.
So the next question is that how long does it take to prepare for IELTS exam? Because some people say there is a very, common advertisement that we see, like, do you prepare yourself for IELTS in 20 days and in 10 days? Or even people say without preparation, so like I will just simply teach you IELTS thing, maybe in one session. So what is the exact duration that we need? Because usually institutions are offering it for 2 months.
Yes, that is a rather tricky question, I would say. It all depends on the other person's motivation level. That is the first
Hmm.
thing, and obviously the intensity of emerging for the test.
Hmm.
So the intensity of the reason why that person has opted for that test, IELTS. So yes, it depends that if you have only 1 month, then of course you will have a more focused mind, and you will be more committed to yourself. So that
Hmm.
commitment is always very important. So if
Hmm.
you are committed that I have this much time period and I have no other preoccupation, then definitely you can, I would say it completely depends on the participant.
Hmm.
The person who is actually here to learn, it depends on that person,
Hmm.
not on us really. for us, we can prepare a student for in within 1 week, you know,
Hmm.
and we can prepare a student in 2 months, in 3 months. It all
Hmm.
depends on the other side, basically.
Hmm.
So the
Yeah.
motivation level and intensity should be, something that should be clear in the head of the participant.
Hmm. Because we are just going to give the instruction. We are not the one who have to appear in the IELTS exam. They have to do it by themselves.
Exactly.
So they need to
Yeah,
put a lot of effort, maybe much more than us. All right.
exactly.
So what do you think? What is the key of getting good bands in IELTS?
The key of getting good bands in IELTS is, of course, it's your commitment, how much you are open to, how much you have that acceptance of, realizing that you have this is your weak area.
Hmm.
I mean, I have taught such students who simply show such resilience towards, um, uh, taking up the fact that I'm wrong in this or that. So the first thing is acceptance,
We are
right?
trained that way.
Yeah, we're trained that way. So acceptance is one thing, and the other thing is of course, the practice.
Hmm.
Uh, more you practice, the more you get better. I'm just teaching a student these days.
Hmm.
She's from Abu Dhabi,
All right.
and I I'm amazed to see her performance. The very
Hmm.
first day when she joined me, she has just taken around 8 sessions with me,
All
out of
right.
which 5 sessions are that of writing.
All
And
right.
in the very first session, I would say she was at band 4 level.
Hmm.
And now, when I check her assignments, she's a working lady and she
All right.
doesn't have that much time to practice so much. Now she's at band 7 or 7.5 level.
Hmm.
So,
That's great.
of course it's reciprocal. It's my effort and it's her effort as well. But I
Hmm.
would say it's more of the effort of the participant
Yeah.
instead of the supervisor or the trainer. So she
Hmm.
was open towards accepting her mistakes, and she was open towards the fact that whatever feedback I was giving her, she was taking it positively, right?
Hmm.
That is why she has shown this horrendous improvement.
All right. So
In
that answer is also pushing me to jump toward the next question, which is, what is your method of teaching, and how come you
well,
are different than other instructors?
my method of teaching is, I would say, Um, it's a little different from others. I won't. I don't know it's a good method or not, but I first of all assess my student, and I assess the comfort level of my student. At
Hmm.
what point that person is comfortable, I check the mood of the person and
Hmm.
how rigid or how flexible that person is.
Hmm.
Right. That is my very first strategy. For this, I always take a diagnostic test, and
That's
maybe the
great.
other trainers also have the same mode of assessing, but
Hmm.
this is my way. And another thing is, of course, I believe a lot in speaking. When
Hmm.
for example, when I start off with a writing session of any trainee, I always I just start a random topic, and
Hmm.
I started with chit chat, common chit chat.
Hmm.
And while doing so, I introduce a lot of new words to that person. I
Hmm.
mean, it's not like this that this is a new word, please learn it. You should add more to your vocabulary. Through only that chit chat, I add around 3 to 4 new words to that person's word
Hmm.
bank every
Hmm.
session, right? And and I encourage that person to develop your own dictionary, their own personal dictionary. And then I move on to brainstorming the ideas, and I jot down the ideas and I share the screen if it is an online session. Whereas if it is a physical one, then of course the responses are taken on the board, and when that whole mindset is developed, then that person is in a much better position
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
create or recreate his or her own ideas. That is my
Hmm.
main methodology. I would say it's brainstorming.
Hmm.
Brainstorming is a very common word these days, and I would say a very overrated word.
Hmm.
But brainstorming doesn't bring you to this position of learning a lot of new words. So my
Yeah.
main strategy is adding more to vocabulary,
Brainstorming can
and
also make you
uh, and
stranded,
also,
scattered.
and yeah, and also um, one very important thing is teaching your student. how to organize their thoughts. In our society, I would say generally our students do not have that temperament of organizing their thoughts. I
Hmm.
remember when I started off as a student, I had a lot of ideas. Whenever I used to get a topic, I was bombarded with ideas,
Hmm.
but I didn't know how to filter them. I didn't know how to
Hmm.
organize them in paragraphs. You know, this is
Hmm.
another thing. And the third thing is the use of linking words.
Hmm.
That is, I always tell my students in the very first session that linking words is the soul of writing.
Hmm.
Okay, for IELTS, especially, you need cohesion in your writing, in your expression, and that coherence can never be achieved without the use of linking words.
Hmm.
So these are three things that I adhere to mainly. But of course, there are other things, adding idioms,
Hmm.
focusing more on formal language, not using the informal words and such
Hmm.
things.
That's so true. Even I also believe in this that the difference between the beginner's writing and advanced writing is also those linking words, those conjunctions. For instance, I usually give this example that when a kid starts writing, so he says, I have many friends, but my best friend is Ali, full stop. And then he
Hmm.
lives in my neighborhood, full stop. His mother loves me, full stop. But if there is an advanced writing, so there would be some conjunction. And it could be and furthermore.
Yeah,
So these type of the words. Yeah, so these words really take it to the higher level. I must say you have a very outstanding way of teaching. So through your experience, what have you learned? Like, although I'm going to ask a very subjective type of question, but still I want to know about your
sorry to
the
cut
key
you.
words.
Uh,
Right?
Sorry to cut you, Farhan. I want to add one more thing over here
Hmm. Hmm.
that our kids, or I would say our youngsters, are very confused in their language development in a way that they think that using slang and using
Hmm.
informal words is cool. You know,
Hmm.
yes, it is cool, but IELTS is altogether a very very formal experience.
Yeah.
So when you're looking for IELTS, you have to bear that in mind that there's no space for using slangs and for
Hmm.
you know the informal words like buddy or
Yeah.
pal or
Bro.
such informal words.
Hmm.
Yeah, bro, such words. So, what the basic mistake that I have seen in 95% of my students is that they
Hmm.
are confused in using formal and informal language. That is
They're
also
not.
one of my focus.
Yeah, they are not only confused, they are not even aware that this word is
Not
formal or informal. They don't even know the definition between these two words. For
yes,
example,
that's
if
the
I
right
say
word.
get me a glass of water or bring me a glass of water, they can't even say which one is formal and which one is informal. So they don't know the
Exactly.
difference. Yeah. So it
Yeah,
happens.
that's
Yeah,
so.
we also focus on that thing. That's so great. Okay, so I wanted to ask you what I was saying that I'm asking you a very subjective question, but still you can give those key points which are going to help to the viewer and to the listener. Yeah, what are the do's and don'ts for IELTS exam when it comes to the
Um,
preparation specifically?
okay, you mean to say that a few things that they should do and a few that they shouldn't do,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, I think I have already given half the answer. That vocabulary, of course. I don't want to sound very cliched, but vocabulary is the
Hmm.
main thing.
We can't
And
ignore
even more
grammar,
than
vocabulary, and
vocabulary,
all. Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
even more than vocabulary is wrong grammar.
Hmm.
Nothing is as bad as using wrong grammar in English.
Hmm.
So you can only IELTS is, in IELTS, if you use simple vocabulary, that is acceptable. But if you use wrong grammar, that is simply not acceptable. No
Hmm.
entry, sorry. It's
Yeah,
that type. Yeah. So first thing is grammar, of course, and then, as I said before, linking words.
yeah.
That is, you can also add that into the category of vocabulary and
Hmm.
expression, and then organizing the thoughts. That
Hmm.
is the
Yeah,
most important thing.
that is more
Organizing your
important.
thoughts, and there is one more thing: proofreading.
Hmm.
My special focus is on proofreading. Trust me, it's been a long time training people.
Hmm.
But unfortunately, I still see my students who do not understand the importance of proofreading.
Hmm.
Proofreading is so very important. If you have done your IELTS task or any written task, um, you tend to lose a lot of marks only because you have not done your proofreading. There will be many mistakes
Yeah.
that you can cover only through proofreading. So that
Hmm.
skill is not there maybe, or people are not aware of that skill. So this is one of the
They just
important
want to
parts
get
of
rid of
training.
their exam.
This is what they say.
Yeah.
This is what they say. I just want to get rid of this. I've written it and now I don't want to go into it.
Hmm.
So this is the common response that I always get. And also there's one very good strategy that has been devised in these recent times. The strategy of, devising your own template.
Hmm.
For IELTS, if you are given a certain task, and you devise a certain template for your intro, for your body, for the conclusion, and then you do all your written tasks in that template with a
Hmm.
little bit of change. That
Hmm.
is a good strategy, but that needs a lot of sense. You really have to be wise to use those templates. Now,
Hmm.
what happens is that I've seen some institutes who have formed their whole books of templates, and they sell them off to their students, right? But I believe that we as a
I would
team,
request you not to name
um,
the institution.
yeah, of course, I won't, but this is hideous. I mean,
Hmm.
let the student devise his or her own template. That will be his or her own individual expression. But
Hmm.
if you are giving your own templates at a time, if you're teaching 10 IELTS students and you're giving the same template to them, it is going to create a havoc in the IELTS exam. The examiner will say that all these 10 people have, come up with the same expression. That's not possible. That's not
Hmm.
natural. So that is one thing that that's a complete don't for IELTS.
And
So must be avoided.
it's been 2 months, Benish. I was also teaching one student. I'm not going to name her as well. I gave her a writing task, and she sent me the very next day. And how I usually deal with the student, I requested her that is it possible if you read it, and I just simply keep it right in front of me, and I just keep watching it. And if there is any spelling mistake, sorry, punctuation mistakes, so I just simply tell them. While she was reading that, I found it out that it was a bit difficult for her to pronounce the words. And I said, hold on, what is the meaning of this word? She said, no, I don't know. I was like, what? You yourself have written it down. And how don't you know the meaning? And she said, like, I was typing it on the Google in Urdu, and Google gave me this English translation. And somebody told me to do this, and I'm doing it because like I'm going to appear in the computer-based exam. I don't know, like from where they get these type of instructions, and like obviously this is not from the IELTS instructor. They are from the friends and people who, like we can't say much about them.
That's true. You're absolutely right. It happens, and I have had hundreds of such experiences with my students. And
Hmm.
it will take a whole lot of separate session to discuss all these funny incidents.
Hmm.
But still, the point remains that it is always good to respect your students and
Hmm.
cover their mistakes and keep
Hmm.
them confidential. But the purpose of having this kind of conversation and to meet the trainer thing, it
Hmm.
helps the people a lot. The people who
Hmm.
are watching us right now, maybe
Hmm.
they will be educated in this way. They will get a lot of awareness, and maybe
Hmm.
they are able to identify their own mistakes, right?
Yeah.
So this is
True.
very important. And coming back to the don'ts part, actually I have a habit of making up my list. I have my list saved in my phone of
Hmm.
some do's and don'ts for IELTS training,
Okay.
and I keep looking at that list and I keep reminding myself and my students for that. The very
Impressive.
first thing that I share with my students is that don't take IELTS for granted. It
Hmm.
is it is not an exam to be taken for granted. You
Hmm.
have paid a heavy amount. It's not pittance that you have paid. It's a heavy amount. So please keep that thing. please remind yourself that I have paid so much.
Yeah.
It's a hefty amount, so you have to prove yourself,
And if
right?
you fail once, it's not like you've wasted your 50 to 60,000. It's just like you've wasted your 1 lakh or 1,20,000 because you would have to appear again.
It's exactly, you waste a fortune,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, don't be vague when you're writing something. For example, if you are attempting task 1 or task 2,
Hmm.
if you are unclear about a certain idea that you want to share, do
Hmm.
not be vague. If you're not clear, just don't write it. Simply.
Hmm.
If you're not clear about the spellings of something, just don't use that word.
Hmm.
Right? These are some very basic things, and we can, people can easily avoid these. And I don't know why people don't do that. That my experience is that sometimes a word pops into your mind, through a trainee's mind, and he says that I have to use this word, no matter that word is clear in his head or not, but he or she has to use it. So
Yeah.
that must
Just to
that
impress the
must
examiner.
stop. Yeah. And also, an important thing in don'ts is that do not digress while writing.
Hmm.
Stick to the topic, and for that, a very easy solution, it's very human and it's very natural that you're given a question when you are writing it. You have so many ideas, you're penning them down, you tend to digress, you
Hmm.
tend to drift away. So the very important thing is that read your question 3 or 4 times while you are writing,
Hmm.
right? So reading that question again and again while you're writing will make you stick to your topic, right?
Hmm.
So digressing from your topic is a complete don't,
Yeah. And
right?
also understanding the question is the most important part of the IELTS exam, because like if you are not
Understanding, yes,
understanding the question, if you don't follow the instructions correctly, so obviously your answer would be vague and you're not going to get good bands. Yeah.
absolutely. Not only understanding, it's also about different parts of the question. How
Hmm.
many parts are there in the question? When I
Hmm.
started off my career with young children, I always used to teach them that just look at the parts of the question.
Hmm.
Your question has, does it have one part? Does it have two parts? Does it have three parts? So
Hmm.
you have to answer all those parts. The general trend is that they just give a very general, holistic answer
Hmm.
for that, and they do not ponder over the fact that this question is too. I mean, do you agree with the author? Yes, I agree with the author. Explain. The next explain part is ignored,
Hmm.
and you lose your major portion of the marks. So
Hmm.
that is very important. Understanding the question and then understanding that how many parts does the question have. That is also very important.
All right. So one last question is, how important is grammar? Like if somebody wants to hear,
Grammar,
yeah.
I would say, just like food is a basic necessity of our body, we cannot live without eating.
Hmm.
So grammar is nothing. English language or any kind of language is incomplete without grammar.
Hmm.
If you have noticed that the Turkish language doesn't have grammar,
Hmm. I
no,
wasn't
yeah,
aware of that.
I have read about it. Turkish language doesn't have grammar,
Hmm.
so their language has some kind of, if somebody
Law?
understands their language, they have some kind of, gaps,
Hmm.
and they do not use helping verbs,
Hmm.
right? So
Okay.
their language have this kind of, I don't know the exact word, but that gap is there in the language. But
Hmm.
English and Urdu, these are such languages that have a proper grammar.
Proper structure.
So
Yeah.
proper structure. So if you are making a building and that building doesn't have the pillars or the foundation, then
Hmm.
of course that building is going to turn back on your head. So
Hmm.
of course that is the importance of grammar in English.
Might be that is also the reason students usually say that I did my writing best, my reading was best, or maybe my speaking was also best, but I don't know why I couldn't score well. Might be that could also be the reason.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you so very much, Dinesh, for your opinion, for your views, and I hope this would be really helpful. It was also helpful for me as well. I also learned a lot from you. So it would be helpful for the viewers as well. Yeah.
Thank you so
So
much.
if
Pleasure.
player here as well. Okay, so if you want to say anything, you can add. Otherwise, like that is it from my side. That's fine, I believe.
Okay, I really want to add only one thing.
Yes,
This is
please.
regarding our institute.
Hmm.
If I can add, if you allow me.
Yes,
I
please.
mean, I'm not a believer in this fact of promoting your product for
Hmm.
nothing.
Hmm.
But for SIFE, categorically, I have gone to many institutes as a trainer, as a trainee.
Hmm.
But I have noticed that we here, that's a small team that we have,
Hmm.
we have more focus on quality. We
Hmm.
do not pay much attention to quantity. It's the
Yeah.
quality we adhere to, and we make sure that whether we have to compromise on our own personal gains or not,
Hmm.
but we always make sure that it's a quality education that we are imparting to people
Yeah.
at that
And
time.
I believe that is so different or might be difficult for the people to understand that we provide 1-to-1 and 1-to-3 classes only. It's not like
Yeah,
50 students
yeah,
to one teacher. It's
in
never like
one
that in our
session. Yeah.
institution. Yeah.
So quality versus quantity is something that also, something that people need to
Hmm.
know and educate themselves.
And everybody is in the race of quantity. Might be we are nowhere in the market, or maybe we are slow in progress because we are more into the quality thing. We are not into the quantity. So might be that could be the reason. But anyway, yeah, we are fine with it. We are sacrificing few from our own side, but still we are trying to provide the best to the students who are going to appear in exam or whatever the help they need from us. So yeah, thank you so very much for your remarks, for your recommendation. I really appreciate it. Uh, so
You're
uh,
welcome.
Thank you. So I believe that is it. Thank you so very much for your time, Dinesh. Take care. Stay
Okay,
blessed. Allah Hafiz.
thank you. Take care. Okay, bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye. Allah Hafiz.